Yes, so welcome all to the Leicester Fan TV match preview for Man City. Really, we've got a big match coming up. It is Man City on Saturday, 5:30 kickoff, a telly match, a massive match. First match for Dean Smith, John Terry and Craig Shakespeare under management. They've been here for just under a week now. I think a lot of fans are buzzing for it. You know, you're obviously going down yourself. It's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a tough game. For one, it's a tough one for Dean Smith and his crew to come in and make something of it. But going into it, really, how are you thinking we're going to line up? How do you think the game's going to go?
Well, Man City is always going to be a tough game. We've always said that it's probably a free hit for us, and if we get anything out of the game, then you'd say you'd take it. A draw, perfect. Even a win would be somehow massive, but I don't think we'll do that. But going to the Man City game now, you just expect to, I don't know, maybe go back to basics, try and get some sort of rhythm going into the game. Obviously, it's going to be hard to keep the ball a lot of the time against Man City, but if you can start to progress with what you're going to do moving forward into the last 8 games, realistically, this is a good start to, as much as it is going to be a tough game, it's a good start to get yourself going and hopefully get on the score sheet, or even just try and produce what you're going to do for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Dean Smith's interviews, and he's always been saying it sounds like he's going to change it up and, you know, get the best out of these players and hopefully play them in the right position, which isn't, you know, it's what we've needed ever since we sacked Rodgers 2 games ago, because that's when it was. I can't remember the actual time. But before the Villa and the Bournemouth game, we sacked him. But caretaker managers, Stow and Sadler, they didn't change anything. They just, and fair enough, they're just coaches and not managers. They didn't know how to change up, and that's not their fault. That's down to the board. They should have brought someone in, but now we have brought someone in, and I think a lot of fans are very optimistic about the package that comes with Dean Smith, not just a manager who's, you know, not going to beat around the bush with the players, and also John Terry is a great defensive player in himself, and I'm sure he's going to help our defenders a lot more because, you know, I mean, he's won a lot, hasn't he? He's won Champions League with Chelsea. He's won
everything with Chelsea.
Exactly. So. He knows how to defend, and I'm sure he'll be a great coach. And Shakespeare, he's come in. Obviously, he was caretaker manager for a little bit at Leicester, you know, the end of Ranieri and start of, I can't remember which season, 16-17 season maybe, I think, is when he started off. We had a poor start, and he did eventually go, but he was always a great assistant manager around the club for a while. He knows it inside and out. So I think we're going to see a different Leicester on Saturday, hopefully a more positive one. We've seen Tielemans in some photos of how he's potentially could be back for this weekend. Really, what do you make? Do you put Tielemans straight back into the team after being out for quite a while?
It's a difficult one with the midfield because you've got so many players that I'd say I'd play. Obviously, Dewsbury Hall obviously got booked and carded for the last game, so he couldn't play last game. But going back into this game now with the new management, I'd maybe start KDH because it's a fresh side. Hopefully, a bit more confidence into him. But then you've got Yuri Tielemans, you've got Pratt. Who do you play? And that's why I probably would go for more midfield based than go for wingers against Man City and try doing that. Obviously, with the wing backs going up forward, but it's hard. Yuri Tielemans, as much as people say he's not going to be here next season, so why would you play him? For me, it's quality over quantity at the moment. You'd rather have him playing because he's a lot better player than some of our midfielders. So you've got to have him put in. But going on to the side of you saying about Craig Shakespeare and John Terry, I think they're the biggest ones out of the lot. I'm not too sure on Dean Smith, but John Terry and Craig Shakespeare are the ones that for me are coming in to hopefully just completely change us up, because at the moment we're basically got no style, no nothing.
Yeah, it's very tough. It's one of the toughest games we're ever going to have to face this season. Man City away. It doesn't get harder than that, really. Maybe Arsenal away this season, which you say is a bit tougher, but Man City away is a very tough game. It's a very tough game for the new managers to come in and do something. I think like a lot of the comments put up, like Gray says here, if we fight for everything, I'm happy. We don't need to win against Man City because these aren't the games we should be winning. We should have beaten Bournemouth last weekend, and Villa should have got a draw at least. But that's done now, so it's one of those things where we just move on. We got Man City. We could get something from them, but we could also get, thumping a little bit still. You never know. It's Man City. We just want to see, a Leicester side that actually turns up for once, really.
Yeah, again, you can't expect to win against Man City. They're the ones near the top of the league. They're going to try and beat Arsenal into the title, hasn't they? So you've got to go into it thinking as long as you should play well or you just get performance out of the boys and actually look a bit better than what we have done the last few games, and that's all you can always say. But the only problem is if we lose it like 5 or 6-0, and it is possible, people will probably moan at it.
I don't think they would. I think we now need to back everything that happens. I don't think there's much. You can't really moan about getting thumped by Man City because we are. This is our first game under.
We have always gave Man City a game though. Like even the game at home, we only lost 1-0.
We could see which team turns up. We could have a completely different team that's motivated to now stay in the Premier League because I don't think I saw any motivation from any of the players or staff that wanted to keep us in the league prior to Dean Smith coming in and his crew. So hopefully they can come and change up. I think what the biggest thing we all want to see, an hour for kickoff at 4:30, is a completely different team, a completely different lineup to what we have been seeing. I think that's what a lot of fans want to see.
It's hard because the team that you're going to put out is basically going to be the same team anyway. I think it's just how you do set up with it. I think obviously I've put some graphics in there about our two different teams we'd prefer to see, but it's all dependent on how we set up and how we get tactically played, because that's my team. I honestly think we'll go for a back four and the midfielders. Obviously, if Youri Tielemans is there, I probably would put him ahead of Dewsbury, but going in the attack, I think you need 2 up front. I think everyone's been asking for 2 up front the last 10 games. So now we've got new management, and hopefully they do change something up. And I just don't want to see it again. Barnes and Tete on the wings.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans are. Well, I mean, I put Barnes in. I think he has been one of our better players this season. He has been underachieving in a lot of games, but if his goals and assists don't lie, if we can get him working properly, I think that would be great. Like your team here, it is very attacking, it's very directional. Just the thing with that is we have to play through the middle of the pitch and get it moving in the midfield of the parks. That's where all of the threat comes from. So I think it's a good lineup. It's very, like I say, attacking, but we have to play that way. If you put up my one, I think we should just go all out against Man City, because if I'm being honest, either fight, try it, or either you don't. I think we should just shove it up front. It's a weird one how obviously the system. I wouldn't play Mendy as high as Maddison. I would drop Mendy back into the middle of the park a bit more than have Maddison higher, and I would have almost 3 forwards rather than wingers, because you've got wing backs. It's hard to drop Barnes, and he is a left winger, but I would play a left wing back. So that's how I'd line up. I think that's one of the better options, and I think we should just go all out attack against Man City, to be honest. I
do agree that a far back might be good, but it depends how we use it. We have to use them fullbacks as the width. We haven't been doing that lately, really. But again, if you do set up as a back 5, you have to use them fullbacks, right? Ricardo has to be in there, and for me, Christiansen has to be in there. I don't think Stanya gets in. And then with how your line's set up, I do feel like if we play that, I think we would get quite a lot more battle.
I don't think we would though, because it's more defensive than your team. It's got more defenders in
I think it's more attacking though. I think if you're going all out, I don't think you can do that against Man City. For us, we've got to defend it and then counter on it.
We've been defending all season, and look how it's been working for us. Look how it's worked for us.
I get that, but
we need to change something up. And if you're going to try some different tactics, do it against Man City. Because Man City are going to see us and think, they're going to come back and defend. Why can't go to Man City and defend? Just go all out attacking against them, because they're not going to expect it. Put them on the back foot and get a couple of goals past them, because we could easily do it if we, set up to shock Man City from the get-go. They just played midweek against Bayern Munich and they whooped them 3-0, and they're not going to be an easy team to beat. So I think if we sit back and defend, but that's just see how many goals we concede, and we'll be happy with a 2-0 loss rather than a 4-0 loss. But if you ask me, I'd rather us try and lose 3 or 4-0 and try something different rather than sit back and just let them attack us and they still win. It doesn't matter how many goals they score.
It's all about Man City today, but it's like, obviously we're not going to have the possession. So for me, you can't really be attacking like that. You've got to sit back against Man City. You can't be the team to outpossess.
I disagree.
Outpossess Man
I
City.
think we don't have to outpossess them. I just think we need to counter-attack them. They can have the ball all they like as long as we try something different and go push up the pitch a lot more. That's how I'd like to play against. So I think that's how a lot of fans, the team that I put in, is how we've been calling out a lot of a wing-back situation. Cause I think that's what we want to see, wing-backs in very directional counter-attacking football, because that's how we play best. That's how I would play anyway, and I think that for me that's one of the better lineups we could at least try. For me, you've got nothing to lose against Man City. If you wanted to try something new and see how it would work, I'd do it against Man City.
Wouldn't you prefer then? Wouldn't you prefer to have or to try and get a draw out of something than just go out and if we lose 3-0, we lose 3-0? I think you'd prefer to try and get a draw.
But you'd like to try and win. There's no going into it thinking we're going to lose. We're thinking as fans, but the players themselves, they need to go in thinking they can win this game, as they should every game. It doesn't matter who you play, because if you go in thinking, oh, we're not getting anything, then you might as well just let them win anyway. So the players should go in thinking that there's every chance they can get something out of it. I just think we should, be a bit more attacking in how we attack. Like you said, play a bit more defensive. I think we played too defensive this season, and it's just not worked out. Passing around the back, building up slowly. That's how Man City are going to play, and I think if we just put them on the back foot and counter-attack them higher up the pitch, they're going to make mistakes, and I think we can capitalise on that a bit more.
Yeah, and then before we do finish, scoreline. Obviously, I want your heart and your head, because at the moment people are saying they'll probably get slapped, but I think with the new management and hopefully they don't start to play, we could do something. I think we could nick a draw out of it.
Again, it's going to be a tough game. You've asked for two different results from my heart and my head, so I'll give you two different results. My heart is saying we'll win 2-0, new manager bounce back. God knows we need a win to get us out of what we are in, and if it comes against Man City, that's
if you think about it as well, if you win against Man City, the confidence you're going to have going into the next 3 is massive.
Again, Man City, it's a free hit. If we lose, we lose. If we win, we win. We're not going to go in it thinking we're going to win, because obviously it's Man City. This, like I say, it's the next 3 games, because we've got Wolves at home, Leeds away, and then Everton at home. For me, we need to win all 3 of those realistically.
Need to, yes. If we don't get any points at Man City, yes.
We need to, after losing to Bournemouth, Villa, and Palace, we need to get 3 big wins against. And I think to be fair, it's only going to take 11 to 15 points this season to keep us up.
I think it's 9 to 10. I honestly think 2 or 3 wins will get us up that table, and the likes.
The thing is, though, 2 to 3 wins, depending on how the results go. If we win 2 games now, we're barely out of the relegation zone. So for me, 11 points would put us on 36, and I think that would be just comfortable. It's hard because a lot of teams are ranked us, but I'm looking at the other games as well, really, before we do end it. After those ones, we've got Fulham at home and then Liverpool away. For me, those 2 teams, Fulham away, I think we could easily get a win at Fulham, and they're
Fulham,
at the moment.
People are saying that Fulham aren't great now, because obviously they've got no Mitrovic for no good. That's first this season. So you've got to look at that saying at least you can get at least a point away from home.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you get points against Wolves, Leeds, or Everton, them last 4 games, I wouldn't say are free hits, but they're games where as long as you get a point in some of them, it was.
They're all tough games. After Everton, they are tougher games. But for me, Fulham, their form, if they can, Fulham, I'm looking at, looking here, it's on the sheet. Fulham's 4 games away. They could win all 4 of their games before they face us and push it. That's a tough game now.
Yeah.
But for me, at current form, we could, we could get something out of it. Obviously, Man City first this weekend. We'll see how the new managers do. We'll see what kind of team lines up. I think I put Kanks in my team. I think we could see him return. Evans could be back in the team. We could see a lot of different changes. I know you're not a big fan of Evans, but he is a skipper and he's someone that will keep a calm head against a tough team. So, again, it's a tough one, really. Like I said, I'm going to say 2-0 with my heart. I think we're going to win 2-0, but if I had to save my head, realistically, 3-0 Man City, because it's Man City. On a good season for Leicester, we get thumped by Man City, let's be honest. We give them a try, but we still get turned 5-2 odd, don't we? When we give them a try, even that's. Yeah. Again, it's not. But if we see a bit of fight and passion, it's a good place to start. against a tough team. So all we need to ask is to see players leave it all on the pitch on Saturday, and that's all we can really ask for against a team like Man City. And if something comes off of it, something comes off of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for a 1-1. I'm gonna go for a draw. But again, there's always hope that we can get a win. Again, if you score early, you keep them out. Again, that's Leicester City. They're not gonna be able to keep the ball out of the net, are they? But yeah, I think we can get a draw. But that's my prediction anyway.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us, Reedy, as ever. Thank you guys for joining us. Obviously, keep in touch. Sure, there's going to be a watch along on Saturday. Big game against Man City. There'll be a lot of posts. Reedy's obviously at the match, so keep an eye out. And yeah, thanks for joining.
Okay.